Hello there, my fellow thinkers and dreamers. This is Mind Palace Musings, and I am your host, David Wellman. Last week, we wrapped up a mini-series on thoughts on thought, something that people don't really think about much. And today, I felt like just doing a quick palate cleanser before moving on to perhaps a more in-depth, detailed topic. I've been quite busy lately, lots of life changes and things coming up, so I feel like this will be just a nice short episode, but we'll see. Just an apology in advance. I got a new kitten. She's very adorable, but also tends to run around like a little crackhead sometimes and makes a lot of noise. So I will, if she does act up, I will stop the recording and wait, but you might hear something. So, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, we live in very turbulent times with some very interesting characters. We find ourselves in this crazy play that we call life. I am, of course, talking about our dear conspiracy theorists. Now, it's a very interesting topic because conspiracies and conspiracy theories lie on a spectrum from anywhere from actually confirmed all the way to absolute crackpot crazy. And as such, so are the people that believe in them, from the absolutely rational to, people who have so fully retracted from reality that they are living in their own world. But I think it's interesting that we discuss the realm surrounding these strange, interesting people, speak about the intricacies, maybe not that in depth of it, but what drives these people, and maybe figure out why they are this way. So, without further ado, why don't you head to your kitchen, pull out some tinfoil, and make yourself a hat. Let's put on our tinfoil hats and discuss conspiracy theories and theorists. Do we have any assumptions today? That is a good question. There's not really much to assume here. There's a difference between a conspiracy and a conspiracy theory, though I couldn't really find a good definition. To be fair, I didn't look very hard. But I'll get into that later. So maybe a disclaimer. I will be making fun of certain groups of people, including flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, and COVID deniers. And if that's something that upsets you, I am genuinely sorry and hope that you get help soon. So, how about we start this off with a definition? A conspiracy is defined as a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. That's very vague, but it kind of falls in line with what we consider a conspiracy theory. Now, I suppose the difference at the offset between a conspiracy and conspiracy theory is that conspiracies have happened. There's proof of them. It's out there. And conspiracy theories are the things that we have, people on message boards chatting about and being, maybe this is happening. And then some people get consumed by the echo chamber, and what may have started out as a joke or trolling, becomes genuine. There's a plane flying over. Okay, that's interesting. Conspiracy theory number one, I was just abducted by a plane. No, I don't know if that was a plane or a helicopter, but I'm sorry about that. I don't know if it picked up in the recording. Haven't heard one for a while because of lockdown and no flights. Anyway, Yeah, so like I was saying, something that may have started out as a joke or just people trolling or talking shit may actually garner some genuine interest. There's a brilliant quote that covers this quite well. People aren't really sure where it originated. Some say that it was started on 4chan. Others have attributed it to Descartes or Voltaire. But anyway, the quote is: any community that gets its laughs by pretending to be idiots will eventually be flooded by actual idiots who mistakenly believe that they're in good company. And that is very true. For those of you on Reddit who may remember back around 2016 when the first round of US presidential elections was going with Donald Trump in the running, and a sub called The Donald was born. Initially a satire sub to kind of mockingly praise Donald Trump. It now is just a alt-right sub for Trump supporters. There's no more satire. It got flooded by the idiots who believed they were in good company. Probably the same for anti-vaxxing. I believe 4chan is currently trying to run a campaign in which they're trying to discredit LGBTQ plus however else letters follow by, trying to get the minor attracted person thing going, trying to make it seem like actual pedophiles want to be recognized as sexuality. And it's all fucked up, of course, but that's a big reason why conspiracy theorists seem to flock together. You've got these outcasts of society who they feel alone, and loneliness and desperation and isolation can do crazy things to a person. If you're left alone in the dark with nothing but your thoughts, you will be faced with your deepest, darkest terror. And many people aren't ready for this, so they'll find a community that maybe they don't fully believe in it, but hey, they're accepted. Maybe their beliefs aren't accepted by the mainstream or by polite society, but they've now they've now found people that they can talk to and maybe even be respected, liked, friends. It's a whole community. We live in an age in which the individual has been eradicated. Everyone is just a faceless entity in the crowd, and everyone is scratching their way to the top, wanting to stand out and be unique. And one way to do that is to find a conspiracy theory and run with it. Look at those sheep out there. They don't know what's going on. They have the wool pulled over their eyes. I'm the only one who knows what's going on here. And that's how these people think. They believe they've found some secret that no one else knows and that they are special for this. And it's not just conspiracy theorists who like this, or who are like this. Take these new age people with all their crystal healing and superfoods and special fancy yoga and whatever else. I'm not saying either group is better than the other, but it's all based on this lack of individuality that they find by construing this false belief that they have some form of superior knowledge or know some secret that other people just aren't aware of. Now, another issue that contributes to this, let's call it an epidemic of misinformation, is that people form their opinions first and then go looking for information to back that up. It's similar to how a lot of things work, like religion in some cases. But, for example, we can take a look at anti-vaxxers who cling to one study, and that study that linked vaccines to autism was not peer-reviewed. It was thrown out by the scientific community, and that man had his license, his medical license revoked. He's not allowed to practice medicine anymore. But they don't care. They don't listen when you tell them that. They just say, oh, well, you know, I'd rather my child be dead than have autism because that's poison in your veins. If you injected mercury into your veins, you'd die. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you injected a lot of shit into your veins, you'd die. That doesn't make vaccines dangerous. Now, that's why this is such an interesting spectrum, because... Okay, so we're going to talk about current world events now, which I think I've done pretty well about not doing up till now, but it's very relevant for this episode. There's now different crowds of people with COVID going on and the vaccine trials going on, where obviously some people are just not going to get vaccinated because they're against all vaccinations. Then you've got another crowd who are saying that Bill Gates is going to microchip them through the vaccine. I can't say it without just wanting to kill myself. It's so bad. Like, these are people who are sharing this shit on Facebook chat groups. They're already being tracked. They're selling everything that they do to Facebook for fucking free. Their government already knows everything they're doing because they're good citizens. You know which country I'm talking about. And, you know, they're now saying that it's obviously not Facebook tracking them and collecting all their data, but if they get this vaccine, they're going to be chipped and they're going to have the mark of the beast and they're not going to be able to ascend to heaven when the rapture happens. That's what I really like about these conspiracy theories, because some of them are just so out there that you can't help but just smile at just how crazy they are. It makes me feel a lot more sane. Now, if you really want to mess with these people, just ask them if they drink tap water or just, eat anything from the grocery store, because unless they're growing their own food and somehow getting their own water off of the grid, if the government wanted to put tracking devices in them, they would have done it already. But, logic is not a strong suit of these people. Yeah. Good times. So we've covered the angle of people wanting to be individuals or feeling superior to others or just irrational fears. Now, that ties into people wanting the world to be more exciting than it is. Because the world we live in is absolutely wonderful, but it's also horrible and depressing. People typically don't want to accept the truth, so they retract into their safe echo chambers of a more dangerous and exciting world. It's the same idea of these safe spaces where people go because they don't want to get triggered by something, except on a whole different spectrum. This is where they feel safe. They create a world in which they are the masters of their own destinies and they know what's going on. Sure, none of it's fucking true, but okay, maybe that's unfair for me to say. Most of it's probably not true. I'm sure one or two of the crazy conspiracy theories out there have some validity to them. I don't know which ones it is. Lizard people might be cool. Okay, I'm going to go on a tangent and we're going to get back to where I was going. But you get some really exciting conspiracy theories and then you get just really boring, stupid ones. And I would classify the boring, stupid ones as ones disprovable by elementary science or just listening to one person who knows what they're doing. Flat Earth, fucking stupid. You can a child can be instructed on how to prove that the Earth is spherical. Okay, it's more like a golf ball, but it is spherical enough that it's definitely not flat. all these documentaries of flat earthers trying to prove the earth is flat, they all end up accidentally proving that the earth is round. Like, what did they think? That friggin' what's his name? Galileo. Was it Galileo? I'm going to check quickly because otherwise I'm going to sound stupid if it wasn't Galileo. Sorry, it was Pythagoras who first, well, not first, but he was one of the first people to say the earth was round. It was Galileo who was accused of heresy for even suggesting that the earth was not the center of the universe, which some Christians still believe because, you know, a book written during the Bronze Age in the Middle East told them so. So, you know, fair enough. They know more than us. Yeah, so that one's stupid. Vaccines causing autism. Numerous studies have shown that they don't. And, you know, that's a silly conspiracy. Now, there are valid reasons not to get a vaccine. Like if you have some kind of immunocompromisation or some kind of health issue relating to it, or even to go back to the COVID vaccine, it's fine to not want to get it in the early stages before it's been proven to actually work. You shouldn't just go injecting unproven substances into your body because that's how you develop horrible addictions and have to do things at night that your grandmother wouldn't be proud of to get more. So anyway, now we look at a conspiracy theory like Hollow Earth. That one's a bit more interesting. We have no way of really proving that the Earth isn't hollow, unless we can drill down deep enough, but we can't. And it's exciting, right? Like, it's something that we can talk about. It's a nice basis for conversation. It's interesting. When you try and start a conversation on the Earth being flat, there's no basis to the conversation. You're just starting it on a substrate of lies and fallacy. Now, again, lizard people, kind of interesting. Aliens, also very interesting. I mean, as a kid, I used to watch all the documentaries I could on aliens and Bigfoot and Loch Ness monsters, ghosts, all kinds of paranormal shit. Like, I wanted to believe. But as I got older, I realized that the world is, the world is already really interesting. We don't need to believe in these crazy things to make it more exciting. But those who feel like their life is out of control and that their destiny is not in their own hands, well, some of them turn to religion and others turn to conspiracy theories. Because, again, like I said, they are safe in these communities. They can say something that has no actual basis in the real world, and they will feel smart and clever because their peers will pat them on the back and say, yes, that's very smart and clever. We know what's going on and no one else does. I mean, it's like I got in a conversation with this guy who was trying to tell me and a few others, like, COVID's a huge hoax, don't wear a mask, don't wash your hands, go visit your grandmother. It's like, no, this is wholly unresponsible. And irresponsible. Unresponsible is not a word, it should be. And his whole reasoning was based off of the fact that some statisticians got the numbers wrong when estimating how many people would get COVID and die based on the initial numbers from that one ship. Like, what kind of a fucking basis for logic is that? Science is the act of continually disproving yourself. That's the point. You are meant to make assumptions and then go and disprove them. And if you end up proving that they are correct, then great, you've also done science. But with something like a global pandemic, there's so many factors. And the fact that as many people that were expected to die didn't is a good thing. I don't know why some people are like, oh, well, this is just proof that it's been overblown. No, this is proof that lockdown procedures have worked. Now, South Africa is a different question. Our government really fucked it up. They were kind of doing the right thing for 2 weeks, And then they were like, yes, but what if we could also be corrupt? And then they just did the thing they've been doing for the past 25 years. Not the point of this video. It's not a video, it's a podcast. Not the point of this episode. So, yes, we've got these people retracting into this fantasy land. It's like a child who can hear their parents arguing, but they refuse to believe it. There's something else going on. They will not accept reality for what it is. It tends to be that people living in more developed nations tend to have a lower trauma ceiling, so they have to manufacture their own threats. Daily life is not a struggle in many of these developed nations, and there aren't many problems that people run into. People who are well off, I should say. Whereas, those living in third world nations like myself, we have to worry about constantly on a daily basis, lock the doors, set the security alarms, make sure the dogs are okay, make sure the electric fence is working. If you go out, you could get mugged, raped, kidnapped, shot, etc. Whereas living in a nicer country, these just aren't issues. It's just like allergies, which have picked up in recent years as our hygiene and our understanding of microorganisms picks up. The system in our bodies responsible for dealing with threats is not picking up as many threats, so it manufactures them. It thinks, oh, well, the system to detect threats isn't working, so we're going to put it into overdrive. That peanut is going to kill us. Don't eat it. I mean, allergies are the fucking stupidest thing, I swear. It's like, hey, I think this thing's going to kill me, so I'm going to kill you first. Don't worry, fam, I got you. So, yeah, interesting correlation, or causation, maybe. I don't know. I don't know stats. Allergies are also more prevalent in developed nations, as are conspiracy theories. Now, maybe these are a conscious or psychological allergy. Maybe our consciousness is, there's no longer existential threats in terms of our life in the savannah or the jungle as hunter-gatherer societies. And these sedentary lifestyles push us to manufacture new threats. We can't deal with the drudgery and the dullness of our 9-to-5 lives, so we have to manufacture some secret plot about a new world order who has set up all these events since the times of ancient Venice, or whatever it is. I don't eat too much into the Illuminati conspiracies, but yeah, it makes life more bearable for some people, and I think it's worth considering. Now, here's a fun conspiracy theory for you. Perhaps genuine conspiracies are kind of talked down by those in power, and that is where this whole craze of conspiracy theories have come out. Maybe if you flood the market with enough crappy knockoffs, people just aren't going to give any of the conspiracies any kind of credence. I mean, some things end up being stranger than fiction. The fact that the CIA was dosing people with LSD to see if it was a truth serum or if it would give them crazy powers. Like, if you would tell someone that without the evidence backing it, you'd call them crazy, or they'd call you crazy. But that's actually something that happened. So it does make you wonder which ones of, which of these conspiracy theories are actually true. But, sorry about that, not the ones that are easily disprovable by science, and not the ones by sheltered baby boomers, and not the ones that are putting the lives of others at risk. If you can, and you are not one of the unfortunate people that can't get them, please go get vaccinated, wear a mask, wash your hands, be a decent person, and yeah, don't do stupid shit. My fellow thinkers and dreamers, my dear seekers of truth and knowledge, thank you, as always, for listening. This episode was something a bit different, me kind of dipping my toes into different pools. As I mentioned, I've been quite busy lately with adopting the new kitten and a shifting work schedule that I'm now kind of also working on the American time zone. And I've also got a German exam coming up, so I've been, not much, but I've been studying a little bit for that and kind of factoring my plans around it. So yeah, I figured I'd kind of do a different kind of episode, but we will be back to the normal type of content from next week. I haven't decided on the topic yet, but I do have a list to pick from. If you are enjoying the podcast, please leave a like or a rating or a review, or share it with your friends, or I don't know, post it to your favorite conspiracy group. Maybe don't. I don't think they'll appreciate this. Any of the other episodes, maybe not this one. But that is up to you, obviously. Yeah, if you would like to join the discussion, please join us on Reddit at r/mindpalacemusings. I'm always keen to chat. I've been appreciating the feedback so far. It's been very appreciated. I just said the same thing twice. If you'd like to get updates on when new episodes go out, which is every Wednesday, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. South African Standard Time, and they're usually out within like the first 6 hours after that, so you can figure out when that is in your local time zone. But anyway, you can follow the official Twitter at mpm_podcast. If you'd like to see my surrealist psychedelic art, you can check out my Instagram at David_Wellman. What else? Oh, we have a Patreon if you would like a shout out at the end of the episode, as well as being able to support the podcast and potentially one day turning it into something I can do for a living instead of my current day job. Then please go ahead and show your support. That is at Patreon, Mind Palace Musings. And if you don't want that kind of long-term commitment, that's the word, you can also just donate whatever you want once off at coffee. Same thing, Mind Palace Musings. All these details will be in the description if you want to check them out. But yeah, until next time, please stay safe, please stay curious. This has been Mind Palace Musings. I have been your host, David Wellman, and thank you for listening.